The cargo ship touched down on Veltara's landing platform with a soft hiss of hydraulics. Han Minho stepped out into the warm air of the trading world, his boots clanking against the metal ramp. He had been to dozens of alien planets in his 5 years as a cargo pilot, but Veltara always impressed him. The city stretched out before him like a living organism, with buildings that seemed to grow from the ground itself and ships from 100 different worlds dotting the skyline. Minho pulled his jacket tighter around his shoulders and headed toward the trading post. He had a simple job today: deliver medical supplies to the local clinic and pick up payment. Easy money. He could be off this rock by sunset. The trading post was crowded with aliens of every shape and size. Minho had learned to keep his head down and his mouth shut in places like this. Humans were still new to the galactic community, and not everyone was happy about their arrival. He weaved through the crowd, careful not to bump into anyone. That was when he saw the wall of muscle blocking his path. Minho tried to step around, but the creature moved at the same moment. They collided with a heavy thud. Minho stumbled back, looking up at what he had just run into. The alien stood at least 7 feet tall, with dark blue skin that looked like polished stone. 4 arms hung at its sides, each one thick with muscle. Its face was humanoid but broader, with deep-set golden eyes that now stared down at Minho with something that looked like fury. "I apologize," Minho said quickly, raising his hands. "I did not see you there." The alien did not move. Around them, the crowd had gone silent. Other aliens were backing away, creating a circle of empty space. Minho felt his stomach drop. This was bad. "You have struck Grathavel, champion of the Talvek," the alien rumbled, its voice like grinding rocks. "This offense demands satisfaction." Minho had heard of the Talvek. They were warriors, proud and honor-bound. They followed strict codes of conduct that humans were still trying to understand. He had just broken one of those codes without meaning to. "I meant no disrespect," Minho said, keeping his voice calm. "It was an accident. I will apologize in whatever way your customs require." Grathavel's upper arms crossed over his massive chest. "The Talvek do not accept words for physical offense. You will face me in the circle of honor, or you will be marked as a coward. Your people will share this shame." Before Minho could respond, a smaller alien pushed through the crowd. This one wore the robes of a council member, its skin a lighter shade of blue than Grathavel's. It looked between the two of them with what might have been concern. "Champion Grathavel, perhaps we can resolve this peacefully," the council member said. "The human is new to our ways." "The law is clear," Grathavel said without looking away from Minho. "He has given offense. The circle will provide justice." The council member turned to Minho. "I am Elder Kelvan. I must inform you that refusing this challenge will be seen as a grave insult to the Talvek people. Given the recent alliance between your species and ours, such an insult could damage relations between our worlds. However, if you accept, you face their champion in single combat. The choice is yours." Minho looked at the massive warrior in front of him. Every logical part of his brain screamed that this was suicide. Grathavel outweighed him by at least 200 pounds and had twice as many arms. But Minho had not survived 3 tours in the outer colonies by backing down from impossible situations. "What are the rules?" Minho asked. A ripple went through the crowd. Grathavel's eyes widened slightly, the first sign of surprise Minho had seen. "You accept?" Elder Kelvan asked. "I accept," Minho said. "But I want to know the rules first." Elder Kelvan explained as they walked to the arena. The circle of honor was simple. 2 fighters entered, 1 left victorious. No weapons, no killing strikes. Fight until one could not continue. The Talvek valued strength and honor above all else. Victory would erase the offense completely. The arena was carved into the ground, a circular pit surrounded by stone seating. Within minutes, word had spread and hundreds of aliens packed the stands. Minho stripped off his jacket and shirt, standing in just his pants and boots. Across from him, Grathvel removed his ceremonial armor, revealing a body that looked like it had been chiseled from granite. A horn sounded. Grathvel charged forward with shocking speed for his size. Minho had expected this. Big fighters always tried to use their strength early to intimidate and overwhelm. Minho had learned to fight in cramped ship corridors and low-gravity stations. He knew how to use his smaller size. He dodged to the side at the last second. Grathvel's massive fist slammed into the ground where Minho had been standing. Minho drove his elbow into the back of Grathvel's neck, a precise strike that made the big alien stumble. The crowd roared. Grathvel spun, all four arms swinging. Minho ducked under the first pair, blocked the second with his forearms, and felt the impact rattle his bones. He could not trade blows with this creature. He had to be smarter. For the next 10 minutes, Minho turned the fight into a game of chess. He let Grathvel chase him around the circle, expending energy. He struck at joints and pressure points, places he had learned in his military training. The Talvek anatomy was different from human, but some things were universal. Nerves could be struck, balance could be disrupted. Grathvel began to slow. His breathing grew heavy. Sweat ran down his blue skin in rivers. Minho saw his opening. Grathvel threw a wild punch with his upper right arm. Minho caught the wrist, twisted his body, and used the champion's own momentum against him. It was a move he had practiced 1,000 times in training. Grathvel flew over Minho's shoulder and crashed to the ground on his back. Before the champion could rise, Minho was on him. He locked Grathvel's upper arms using a complex hold, his legs wrapped around the alien's torso, controlling his breathing. "Yield," Minho said quietly. "You fought with honor. There is no shame in yielding." For a moment, Grathvel struggled. Then his body went slack. "I yield," he gasped. The crowd exploded in noise. Minho released the hold and stood, offering his hand to Grathvel. The champion stared at it for a long moment, then took it. Minho helped him to his feet. Elder Kelvan entered the circle, raising his arms for silence. "The challenge is complete. The human has proven his strength and honor before the Talvek people." Minho nodded, catching his breath. He started to turn away, ready to get his jacket and leave this crazy planet behind. "Wait," Elder Kelvan said. "There is the matter of the victor's rights." Minho stopped. "The what?" "By ancient Talvek law, one who defeats a champion in the Circle of Honor earns the right to claim the champion's household. This includes all unbonded family members." "I do not want his household," Minho said quickly. "I just wanted to settle the offense." Elder Kelvan's expression was unreadable. "The law is not optional. Champion Grathvel has 3 unbonded wives prepared for marriage. They are now yours to claim." The arena went completely silent. Minho stared at the elder, certain he had misunderstood. "I am sorry," Minho said slowly. "Did you just say wives? Plural?" 3 wives. Elder Kelvan confirmed. "You must accept them, or bring dishonor to these women and create an incident between our peoples. They will be brought to you within the hour." Minho looked around the arena, searching for someone to tell him this was a joke. But every alien face looked deadly serious. He had come to Veltara for a simple cargo run. Now he was apparently getting married to 3 alien women he had never met. His simple job had just become incredibly complicated. Minho sat in a small waiting room, his head in his hands. An hour had passed since the fight, and he still could not believe what was happening. Married. To 3 alien women, because he had bumped into someone and won a fight. The door opened. Elder Kelvan entered, followed by 3 Talvek women. Minho stood up quickly, his heart pounding. The first woman was tall, even by Talvek standards, with skin the color of deep ocean water. Her golden eyes studied him with sharp intelligence. She wore robes that marked her as educated, a scholar perhaps. Her 4 arms were crossed in what looked like disapproval. The second woman was built like a warrior. Her muscles were clearly defined under her dark blue skin, and she moved with the grace of a fighter. Scars marked her arms, badges of honor in Talvek culture. She stared at Minho with open hostility, her jaw tight. The third woman was younger than the others, her skin a lighter shade of blue. She carried a bag filled with tools and devices, and her eyes darted around the room with curiosity. When she looked at Minho, there was no anger, just interest. "These are the daughters of House Grathvel," Elder Kelvan said. "Nari, the eldest, scholar of political science. Yuna, warrior of the 2nd Battalion. And Hana, engineer and inventor." Minho did not know what to say. In his military days, he had been trained for dozens of scenarios. Alien marriage ceremonies were not among them. "Hello," he finally managed. "My name is Han Minho. I am very sorry about this situation." Nari spoke first, her voice cool and measured. "You need not apologize for following our laws, even if you did so unknowingly. However, I want to make something clear. We are not property to be claimed like cargo. We are individuals with our own thoughts and desires." "I agree completely," Minho said quickly. "I did not want this either. Is there a way to undo it?" "No," Elder Kelvan said. "The law is binding. However, there is a trial period. You must remain married for 1 Talvek year, approximately 18 of your Earth months. During this time, you must provide for them, protect them, and honor our customs. After the year ends, each woman may choose to stay or leave. The choice will be theirs." Yuna stepped forward, her upper arms crossed over her chest. "I will make this easy for you, human. I do not want to be here. I do not respect you. You won by trickery, not true strength. When the year ends, I will leave immediately." Minho met her gaze. "That is your right. I will not try to stop you." "Good," Yuna said, though she looked slightly surprised by his answer. Hana walked around Minho in a circle, studying him like a fascinating puzzle. "You are smaller than I expected. How did you defeat Grathvel? Our champion has won 43 challenges." "Leverage and timing," Minho said. "I could not match his strength, so I did not try. I used his weight against him." "Interesting," Hana said, pulling out a small device and scanning him. "Your bone density is lower than ours, but your muscle efficiency is remarkable, and your brain shows high activity in the tactical centers. You are a strategic thinker." "Please do not scan our husband without permission," Nari said sharply. "He is not my husband," Yuna snapped. "Not truly." "By law he is," Nari said, "and we must live with this reality for the next year. Fighting among ourselves will only make it worse." Elder Kelvan cleared his throat. "The ceremony will be held tonight. It is a formality, but required by law. Afterward, you will leave Veltara together. The Talvek government has decided that it would be best for you to live away from the homeworld during the trial period. Too many conservative voices oppose this union." "Where will we go?" Minho asked. "That is for you to decide," the elder said. "You have a ship, yes?" Minho nodded. His cargo ship was small, designed for a crew of 1, maybe 2. 4 people would be cramped. "It is not large, but it has enough space, barely." "Then it is settled," Elder Kelvan said. "The ceremony begins at sunset." The ceremony was simple but strange to Minho's eyes. He and the 3 women stood in a circle while an elder priest recited ancient words. They each drank from a shared cup, symbolizing the joining of their lives. Rings were exchanged, bands of metal that fit around their wrists. When it was done, the priest declared them bound by law and tradition. Minho looked at his 3 new wives. Nari stood straight and formal. Yuna glared at the ground. Hana was still scanning things with her device. "Well," Minho said quietly, "I guess we should go to the ship." The walk through the city was uncomfortable. People stared. Some Talvek bowed respectfully. Others whispered and pointed. Minho kept his eyes forward and tried to ignore them. His ship, the Morning Star, waited at the docking platform. It was a reliable vessel, nothing fancy. The cargo hold took up most of the space, with living quarters in the front. One bedroom, one bathroom, a small kitchen, and a cockpit. The three women stood in the cargo hold, looking around. Minho could see the doubt on their faces. "I know it is not much," he said. "The bedroom is through that door. There is one bed, but I can sleep out here. You three can share the room." "Where will you sleep?" Hana asked. "I have slept in worse places than a cargo hold," Minho said. "I will be fine." Nari studied him. "You would give up your own bed?" "You are my responsibility now," Minho said. "Whether I wanted this or not, I will not make you uncomfortable on top of everything else." Something shifted in Nari's expression. Not warmth exactly, but the hostility faded slightly. "That is, considerate." "Do not think this changes anything," Yuna said, pushing past him toward the bedroom. "I still do not like you." Hana was already examining the ship's systems, her fingers dancing over the control panels. "This engine is outdated. And your navigation system is at least 10 years old. How do you travel safely?" "Carefully," Minho said with a small smile. That first night was awkward. The women talked among themselves in their native language, which Minho did not understand. He busied himself with checking the ship's systems and planning their route. He had cargo contracts waiting in 3 different systems. The work would continue, wives or no wives. Around midnight, Nari emerged from the bedroom. Minho was lying on the floor of the cargo hold, using his jacket as a pillow. "You really are sleeping here," she said. "I said I would," Minho replied. She was quiet for a moment. "Why did you accept the challenge? You must have known you could die." Minho sat up. "The elder said refusing would damage relations between our peoples. Humans are new to the galaxy. We need allies, not enemies. One life is a small price for peace." "You were willing to die for politics?" Nari asked. "I was willing to die for my people," Minho corrected. "There is a difference." Nari studied him in the dim light. "You are not what I expected from a human." "What did you expect?" "Something more arrogant, more conquering. The stories we hear about humans paint you as aggressive and unpredictable." Minho laughed softly. "We can be those things, but we can also be adaptable. That is what makes us survive." Nari nodded slowly. "Perhaps this year will not be as terrible as I feared." She turned to go back to the bedroom, then paused. "Thank you for the bed." "You are welcome," Minho said. After she left, Minho lay back down. Through the wall, he could hear the 3 women talking. Yuna's voice was still angry, but Hana sounded excited about something. Nari spoke in calm, measured tones. 18 months, Minho thought. He had to keep them safe, keep them fed, and somehow avoid a diplomatic incident. He had faced enemy soldiers, survived ship crashes, and navigated through asteroid fields. Surely he could handle 3 alien wives. As he drifted off to sleep, he wondered if he had just lied to himself. The adventure was only beginning. Minho sat in a small waiting room, his head in his hands. An hour had passed since the fight, and he still could not believe what was happening. Married to 3 alien women, because he had bumped into someone and won a fight. The door opened. Elder Kelvan entered, followed by 3 Talvek women. Minho stood up quickly, his heart pounding. The first woman was tall, even by Talvek standards, with skin the color of deep ocean water. Her golden eyes studied him with sharp intelligence. She wore robes that marked her as educated, a scholar perhaps. Her 4 arms were crossed in what looked like disapproval. The second woman was built like a warrior. Her muscles were clearly defined under her dark blue skin, and she moved with the grace of a fighter. Scars marked her arms, badges of honor in Talvek culture. She stared at Minho with open hostility, her jaw tight. The third woman was younger than the others, her skin a lighter shade of blue. She carried a bag filled with tools and devices, and her eyes darted around the room with curiosity. When she looked at Minho, there was no anger, just interest. "These are the daughters of House Grathvel," Elder Kelvan said. "Nari, the eldest, scholar of political science. Yuna, warrior of the 2nd Battalion, and Hana, engineer and inventor." Minho did not know what to say. In his military days, he had been trained for dozens of scenarios. Alien marriage ceremonies were not among them. "Hello," he finally managed. "My name is Han Minho. I am very sorry about this situation." Nari spoke first, her voice cool and measured. "You need not apologize for following our laws, even if you did so unknowingly. However, I want to make something clear. We are not property to be claimed like cargo. We are individuals with our own thoughts and desires." "I agree completely," Minho said quickly. "I did not want this either. Is there a way to undo it?" "No," Elder Kelvan said. "The law is binding. However, there is a trial period. You must remain married for 1 Talvek year, approximately 18 of your Earth months. During this time, you must provide for them, protect them, and honor our customs. After the year ends, each woman may choose to stay or leave. The choice will be theirs." Yuna stepped forward, her upper arms crossed over her chest. "I will make this easy for you, human. I do not want to be here. I do not respect you. You won by trickery, not true strength. When the year ends, I will leave immediately." Minho met her gaze. "That is your right. I will not try to stop you." "Good," Yuna said, though she looked slightly surprised by his answer. Hana walked around Minho in a circle, studying him like a fascinating puzzle. "You are smaller than I expected. How did you defeat Grathvel? Our champion has won 43 challenges." "Leverage and timing," Minho said. "I could not match his strength, so I did not try." "I used his weight against him." "Interesting," Hana said, pulling out a small device and scanning him. "Your bone density is lower than ours, but your muscle efficiency is remarkable, and your brain shows high activity in the tactical centers. You are a strategic thinker." "Please do not scan our husband without permission," Nari said sharply. "He is not my husband," Yuna snapped. "Not truly." "By law he is," Nari said, "and we must live with this reality for the next year. Fighting among ourselves will only make it worse." Elder Kelvan cleared his throat. "The ceremony will be held tonight. It is a formality, but required by law. Afterward, you will leave Veltara together. The Talvek government has decided that it would be best for you to live away from the homeworld during the trial period. Too many conservative voices oppose this union." "Where will we go?" Minho asked. "That is for you to decide," the elder said. "You have a ship, yes?" Minho nodded. His cargo ship was small, designed for a crew of 1, maybe 2. 4 people would be cramped. "It is not large, but it has enough space, barely." "Then it is settled," Elder Kelvin said. "The ceremony begins at sunset." The ceremony was simple, but strange to Minho's eyes. He and the 3 women stood in a circle while an elder priest recited ancient words. They each drank from a shared cup, symbolizing the joining of their lives. Rings were exchanged, bands of metal that fit around their wrists. When it was done, the priest declared them bound by law and tradition. Minho looked at his 3 new wives. Nari stood straight and formal. Yuna glared at the ground. Hana was still scanning things with her device. "Well," Minho said quietly, "I guess we should go to the ship." The walk through the city was uncomfortable. People stared. Some Talvek bowed respectfully. Others whispered and pointed. Minho kept his eyes forward and tried to ignore them. His ship, the Morning Star, waited at the docking platform. It was a reliable vessel, nothing fancy. The cargo hold took up most of the space, with living quarters in the front. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a small kitchen, and a cockpit. The 3 women stood in the cargo hold, looking around. Minho could see the doubt on their faces. "I know it is not much," he said. "The bedroom is through that door. There is 1 bed, but I can sleep out here. You 3 can share the room." "Where will you sleep?" Hana asked. "I have slept in worse places than a cargo hold," Minho said. "I will be fine." Nari studied him. "You would give up your own bed?" "You are my responsibility now," Minho said. "Whether I wanted this or not, I will not make you uncomfortable on top of everything else." Something shifted in Nari's expression. Not warmth exactly, but the hostility faded slightly. "That is considerate." "Do not think this changes anything," Yuna said, pushing past him toward the bedroom. "I still do not like you." Hana was already examining the ship's systems, her fingers dancing over the control panels. "This engine is outdated, and your navigation system is at least 10 years old. How do you travel safely?" "Carefully," Minho said with a small smile. That first night was awkward. The women talked among themselves in their native language, which Minho did not understand. He busied himself with checking the ship's systems and planning their route. He had cargo contracts waiting in 3 different systems. The work would continue, wives or no wives. Around midnight, Nari emerged from the bedroom. Minho was lying on the floor of the cargo hold, using his jacket as a pillow. "You really are sleeping here?" she said. "I said I would," Minho replied. She was quiet for a moment. "Why did you accept the challenge? You must have known you could die." Minho sat up. "The elder said refusing would damage relations between our peoples. Humans are new to the galaxy. We need allies, not enemies. 1 life is a small price for peace." "You were willing to die for politics?" Nari asked. "I was willing to die for my people," Minho corrected. "There is a difference." Nari studied him in the dim light. "You are not what I expected from a human." "What did you expect?" "Something more arrogant, more conquering. The stories we hear about humans paint you as aggressive and unpredictable." Minho laughed softly. "We can be those things, but we can also be adaptable. That is what makes us survive." Nari nodded slowly. "Perhaps this year will not be as terrible as I feared." She turned to go back to the bedroom, then paused. "Thank you for the bed." "You are welcome," Minho said. After she left, Minho lay back down. Through the wall, he could hear the 3 women talking. Yuna's voice was still angry, but Hana sounded excited about something. Nari spoke in calm, measured tones. 18 months, Minho thought. He had to keep them safe, keep them fed, and somehow avoid a diplomatic incident. He had faced enemy soldiers, survived ship crashes, and navigated through asteroid fields. Surely he could handle 3 alien wives. As he drifted off to sleep, he wondered if he had just lied to himself. The adventure was only beginning. 3 months into their marriage, Minho received the first death threat. It came as a message on the public channels written in harsh Talavek script. Hana translated it for him while they sat in the cockpit. "It says you have corrupted the daughters of Grathvel," she read, her voice quiet. "It says the Purity Front will cleanse this dishonor with blood. They call you an abomination." Minho had heard of the Purity Front. They were Talvek extremists who believed their species should remain isolated from other races. The idea of a human married to Talvek women enraged them. "Should we be worried?" Minho asked. "Yes," Nari said from the doorway. She had been listening. "The Purity Front does not make idle threats. They have killed before." Yuna crossed her upper arms. "Let them come. I will show them what happens when they threaten my family." Minho noticed the word she used. Family, not this human or the pilot. Family. We should leave this sector, Nari said. Find somewhere remote until this passes. But it did not pass. Over the next week, more messages arrived. Then reports started coming in through the news channels. Purity Front members were hunting for the Morning Star, checking docking stations and trade routes. They had put a bounty on Minho's head. Why do they care so much? Minho asked. There must be thousands of interspecies marriages in the galaxy. Because our marriage was public, Nari explained. Everyone saw you defeat Grathavel. Everyone knows you claimed us under ancient law. To the Purity Front, you represent everything they hate. Outsiders using Talvek traditions for personal gain. I did not want any of this, Minho said, frustration creeping into his voice. I know, Nari said gently, but that does not matter to them. They jumped from system to system, always moving, never staying long. Minho took contracts in remote areas, places far from major Talvek populations. But the Purity Front had resources and patience. They kept hunting. During those weeks of running, something shifted between the four of them. Shared danger created bonds that time alone could not forge. They worked as a team now, each person knowing their role without needing to be told. Minho handled piloting and strategy. Nari managed their communications and helped them navigate the complex politics of different systems. Yuna kept watch and maintained their weapons. Hana continued improving the ship, making it faster and harder to track. They also began to share their stories. On long nights in hyperspace, they would gather in the cargo hold and talk. Yuna told them about her time in the military, about the comrades she had lost in border conflicts. She spoke about her family's disappointment when she chose the warrior path instead of a traditional marriage. They said I was too fierce, she said, her voice hard, too unfeminine. They wanted me to be soft and obedient. I refused. I am glad you did, Minho said. Your strength has saved us more than once. Yuna looked at him, surprised. You do not think I am too fierce? I think you are exactly fierce enough, Minho said. Something warm flickered in her eyes. Hana shared her passion for engineering, how she had been the first woman in her academy to graduate with highest honors. But her achievements were dismissed by traditionalists who thought females should not work with machines. They said engineering was not proper work for a woman of House Grathvel, she said bitterly. They wanted me to study art or music, safe, feminine pursuits. Their loss, Minho said. Your work with the engines has saved our lives. I would trust your skills over anyone's. Hana smiled, a real smile that lit up her face. Thank you. Nari spoke about the pressure she had faced as the eldest daughter, expected to make a political marriage that would benefit her house. She had spent years studying diplomacy and negotiation, preparing for a life she did not want. When you defeated Grathavel, part of me was relieved, she admitted. Yes, it was forced. Yes, it was unexpected. But it freed me from a future I dreaded. You wanted freedom, Minho said. All my life, Nari confirmed, and now I have it in the strangest way possible. Minho told them about his own past, about growing up poor in the outer colonies, about joining the military to escape poverty, about the friends he had lost in combat, and the nightmares that still woke him sometimes. I became a cargo pilot because I wanted peace, he said. I wanted simple jobs and quiet days. No more fighting, no more death. Yet here you are, fighting again, Yuna said. To protect people I care about, Minho said. That is different. The words hung in the air. People I care about. Not my wives or my responsibility. People I care about. Nari reached out and placed one of her hands on his. We care about you too, she said softly. The moment was broken by alarms. Hana rushed to the controls. 3 ships just dropped out of hyperspace behind us. Talvek signatures. They are hailing us. The Purity Front, Yuna said, her voice cold. Minho ran to the cockpit. The pursuing ships were fast, built for combat. The Morning Star could not outrun them. We need to jump, Nari said. The hyperdrive needs 10 minutes to charge, Hana said. They will catch us first. Minho scanned the area. They were near a dead moon, a barren rock with an abandoned mining station. Can we land on that moon? Why would we trap ourselves? Yuna asked. Because they expect us to run, Minho said. They will scan for our hyperspace signature. If we hide on the surface, power down all systems, they might pass us by. Or they might land and kill us, Yuna countered. Do you have a better plan? Minho asked. She did not. They dove toward the moon, skimming its surface at dangerous speeds. Minho found a canyon deep enough to hide the ship and landed hard. Immediately, Hana began shutting down all systems. The lights went dark. The engines went silent. Even life support powered down to minimal levels. In the darkness, they waited. Through the viewport, they watched the 3 Purity Front ships sweep across the moon's surface. Searchlights stabbed down looking for them. Minutes felt like hours. Then the ships moved away, heading back toward open space. They had missed the canyon. No one spoke. They barely breathed. They waited another hour before Hana risked bringing systems back online. They are gone, she whispered. Minho slumped in his chair, exhausted. We cannot keep running forever. Then what do we do? Nari asked. We need allies, Minho said. We need to make this fight more costly for them than it is worth. Over the next weeks, Nari used her diplomatic training to reach out to contacts across the galaxy. She found moderate Talvek leaders who opposed the Purity Front. She contacted human colonial governments who wanted to strengthen ties with the Talvek. She built a network of support, slowly and carefully. Meanwhile, Hana continued upgrading the ship. She installed better weapons, stronger shields, and a cloaking device that could hide them for short periods. The Morning Star transformed from a simple cargo ship into something more formidable. Yuna trained them all in combat. Even Nari learned to fight, though she preferred to use words as her weapons. They practiced scenarios, planned escape routes, prepared for every possibility, and through it all they grew closer. Minho found himself looking forward to morning tea with Nari, where they discussed philosophy and politics. He enjoyed sparring with Yuna, testing his skills against hers. He loved the hours spent with Hana in the engine room, learning about her inventions. One night, after a particularly grueling training session, Yuna sat beside Minho in the cargo hold. When this year is over, she said quietly, I think I will stay. Minho looked at her, surprised. I thought you wanted to leave the moment you could. I did, Yuna said, but that was before I knew you. Before I understood what it meant to be part of a real family. Not one forced by tradition, but one chosen by respect and caring. She placed one of her hands on his shoulder. You are a good man, Minho. I am proud to call you my husband. Before Minho could respond, Yuna stood and walked away. But her words stayed with him. The Purity Front was still hunting them. The danger had not passed. But they were not running anymore. They were preparing to fight back, together. And Minho realized that somewhere along the way, this strange, forced marriage had become something real. The distress signal came through at 3 in the morning, ship time. Minho was half asleep in the cockpit when the emergency channel crackled to life. This is Colony Haven. We are under attack by slavers, requesting immediate assistance. Repeat, requesting immediate assistance. Minho bolted upright. Haven Colony was a human settlement in the frontier territories, home to about 3,000 people. Mostly farmers and miners, peaceful families trying to build a new life. The channel filled with sounds of weapons, fire, and screaming. Then it went silent. Nari appeared in the doorway wrapped in a sleeping robe. "What is happening?" "A human colony is under attack," Minho said, already plotting a course. "Slavers." "How far away?" Nari asked. 6 hours at maximum speed." "Minho," Nari said carefully, "we cannot fight slavers. We barely survived the Purity Front. Slaver gangs have warships, soldiers, and weapons we cannot match." "I know," Minho said. But his hands continued working the controls. "But those are my people down there." Yuna and Hana entered the cockpit. Yuna looked at the navigational display and immediately understood. "You want to help them?" "I have to try," Minho said. "It is suicide," Yuna said bluntly. "Slaver operations use overwhelming force. They will kill us." "Then stay here," Minho said, his voice hard. "Keep the ship safe. I will take a shuttle down alone." "Do not be foolish," Yuna snapped. "If you go, we all go." "Why?" Minho asked, turning to face her. "This is not your fight. These are not your people." "You are my people," Yuna said fiercely. "Where you go, I go. That is what it means to be family." Hana nodded. "She is right. We fight together." Nari sighed. "I suppose diplomatic solutions are unlikely with slavers." "Very well. But we need a plan. Rushing in blindly will only get us killed." For the next 6 hours, they planned. Nari researched the slaver gang, finding information about their tactics and equipment. Hana prepared weapons and modified their shuttle for stealth insertion. Yuna drilled them on combat formations and emergency protocols. When they dropped out of hyperspace near Haven Colony, the situation was worse than Minho had feared. 2 massive slaver ships orbited the planet, their weapons trained on the colony below. Smaller ships ferried captives up from the surface, hundreds of people being loaded into cargo holds like animals. "There are too many," Nari whispered. "We cannot fight them directly," Minho agreed. "But we can make them think we are something we are not." He explained his plan. It was crazy, dangerous, and would probably fail. But it was the only chance they had. Hana launched a series of modified communication buoys into orbit, each one broadcasting false signals. To the slavers' sensors, it would look like a fleet of ships was approaching. Not just any fleet. A Talvek military battle group. "Will they believe it?" Nari asked. "They will if we sell it right," Minho said. He opened a wide-range channel and spoke in his most commanding voice. "Attention slaver vessels. This is Captain Han Minho of the Talvek diplomatic mission. You are engaged in illegal operations in protected space. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Silence. Then a rough voice responded. "There are no Talvek ships in this system. Your bluff will not work, human." Yuna leaned into the channel and spoke in formal military Talvek, her voice cold and authoritative. She issued a warning that made the slaver hesitate. Minho did not understand the words, but the tone was unmistakable. "She told them their family lines will be erased from history if they do not surrender," Nari translated. "It is a death curse, very serious." The slavers were not stupid. Their scanners showed multiple contacts approaching. They could not risk fighting an actual Talvek battle group over one small colony. It was bad business. "We are leaving," the slaver captain finally said. "But if this is a trick, we will remember you." The slaver ships pulled back, abandoning the captives they had already taken and fleeing into hyperspace. As soon as they were gone, Minho brought the Morning Star down to the colony. The landing site was chaos. Buildings burned, bodies lay in the streets, survivors huddled in damaged shelters, terrified and traumatized. Minho and his wives rushed out to help. Hana used her engineering skills to stabilize damaged structures. Nari coordinated rescue efforts and provided first aid. Yuna helped dig people out of collapsed buildings, her 4 arms making her twice as effective as human rescuers. Minho found the colony administrator, a woman named Kim Sora, in the medical tent. She was bandaged and exhausted, but alive. "You saved us," she said when she saw him. "The slavers were going to take everyone. How did you make them leave?" "We convinced them they were facing a Talvek battle group," Minho said. "It was a bluff, but it worked." Administrator Kim looked past Minho to where Nari was treating injured children with gentle care, where Yuna carried an injured man to safety, where Hana repaired a damaged power generator. "Those are Talvek women," she said. "My wives," Minho confirmed. Kim laughed, a short, exhausted sound. "Only a human would end up married to aliens and then use it to save a colony. You are either very clever or very lucky." "Maybe both," Minho said. Over the next week, they stayed at Haven Colony to help with recovery efforts. The colonists were initially wary of the 3 Talvek women, but that wariness faded quickly. Nari organized supply distributions and helped negotiate with nearby settlements for aid. The colonists saw her wisdom and fairness, how she listened to everyone regardless of their status. Yuna trained the colony's defense force, teaching them tactics that could help them survive future attacks. The farmers and miners who had never held weapons before looked at her with respect and gratitude. Hana rebuilt their communication systems and upgraded their defenses. She worked tirelessly, often through the night, to make sure the colony would be safer. The 3 women experienced human culture firsthand. They ate simple human food prepared by grateful colonists. They heard human music played on old instruments. They saw how humans helped each other, not because of laws or duty, but because it was right. One evening, Minho found Nari sitting outside the medical tent, watching the sunset. He sat beside her. "This is very different from Talvek worlds," she said. "How so?" Minho asked. "The way you help each other," Nari explained. "On Talvek worlds, everything is structured by family houses and honor codes. Here I watched strangers help strangers. I saw people share their last food with neighbors they barely know. Your people choose to be kind, not because tradition demands it, but because you want to be. Not all humans are like this," Minho said honestly. "We have cruel people too, selfish people." "I know," Nari said, "but you choose to be kind. You chose to help these people even though it put us in danger. That says something about who you are." She took his hand in one of hers. "I am glad I met you, Minho. This forced marriage has shown me more of the universe than I ever saw in my carefully planned life." "I am glad too," Minho said softly. Yuna approached them. "The colony wants to hold a celebration tonight, to thank us for helping." The celebration was simple but heartfelt. Colonists gathered around a bonfire, sharing food and stories. Someone played guitar while others sang. Children laughed and ran through the crowd. Minho watched his 3 wives among the humans. Hana danced clumsily with some children, trying to learn human dance steps. Yuna arm wrestled with colonists, letting some of them win. Nari spoke with Administrator Kim about trade agreements and future cooperation. They fit here, not perfectly, but genuinely, and the humans accepted them not as aliens or strangers, but as the people who had helped save their home. Later that night, after the celebration ended, Hana came to Minho's tent. She looked nervous. "I have been thinking," she said, "about what you said before, about duty and love." "What about it?" Minho asked. "When we first married, it was duty," Hana said. "We had to stay together because of law, but now—" She paused, searching for words. "Now, when I think about leaving after the year ends, my heart hurts. I do not want to leave. Not because I must stay, but because I want to." "Hana," Minho started. "I am falling in love with you," she said quickly, before she lost her courage. "With all of this, the adventures, the danger, the helping people, with you, and I do not know what to do about it." Minho stood and took her hands in his. "You do not have to do anything except what feels right to you. No more duty, no more obligations. Just what you want." I want to stay, Hana whispered. When the year ends, I want to stay with you. Then stay, Minho said. Hana smiled, and Minho found himself smiling back. He pulled her close, and for the first time, they embraced not as strangers forced together, but as two people who genuinely cared for each other. The next morning, they prepared to leave Haven Colony. The colonists gathered to see them off, waving and cheering. Administrator Kim gave Minho a communicator. If you ever need help, she said, call us. You will always have friends here. As the morning star lifted into the sky, Minho looked at his 3 wives. Nari sat at the navigation station, plotting their course. Yuna checked the weapons systems. Hana hummed while she worked on the engines. 9 months remained in their trial marriage, but Minho no longer thought of it as a trial. It had become something real, something precious. He just hoped they would all survive long enough to see what came next. The message from the Talvek High Council arrived without warning, its seal marking it as urgent and official. Nari read it first, her face growing pale. What is it? Minho asked. The council has called an emergency hearing, she said, her voice shaking. About our marriage. The Purity Front has petitioned to have it annulled. They claim you corrupted us, that the marriage is invalid under traditional law. Can they do that? Yuna demanded. The council has the authority, Nari said. If they decide in favor of the petition, the marriage ends immediately. We would be ordered to return to Talvek space, and Minho would be banned from Talvek territories forever. Hana's hands tightened on her tools. When is the hearing? 7 days, Nari said. We are ordered to appear before the council on the homeworld. The mood on the ship turned dark. They had 9 months left in their trial marriage, but the council could end it with a single vote. Everything they had built together could disappear. That night, Minho could not sleep. He sat in the cargo hold, staring at nothing. Nari found him there. You are worried, she said, sitting beside him. If the council annuls the marriage, I will never see any of you again, Minho said. I cannot visit Talvek worlds. You will be watched, maybe punished for defending me. Then we must convince the council to let us stay together, Nari said. How? They already think I corrupted you. Nari was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Perhaps that is not entirely wrong. Minho looked at her, surprised. Not corrupted, Nari clarified, but changed. You have shown us a different way of living. You taught us that we can choose our own paths, that honor can mean more than following old rules. That is powerful and frightening to traditionalists. She took his hand. Minho, I need to tell you something. I have fallen in love with you. Not because I must, but because you are kind, brave, and honest, because you see me as a person, not property, because being with you makes me happy. Nari, Minho breathed. I know Hana told you how she feels, Nari continued. I see the way she looks at you, and I see the way Yuna has changed, how she smiles more now. We are all falling for you in our own ways. I do not deserve any of you, Minho said. Let us decide what we deserve, Nari said firmly. She leaned forward and kissed him, a soft, gentle touch that made Minho's heart race. When they parted, Minho saw tears in her eyes. I will fight for this marriage, Nari said. I will fight for us. But you need to tell me. What do you want? When our trial year ends, assuming the council allows it to continue, what do you want to happen? Minho had been avoiding this question for months. But now, with everything at risk, he could not hide from the truth anymore. I want all of you to stay, he said. I have fallen in love with 3 extraordinary women. Nari, you are brilliant and strong. You challenge me to think deeper, to be better. Yuna, you are fierce and loyal. You make me feel protected and valued. Hana, you are curious and creative. You make every day an adventure. He stood up, pacing. I know it is complicated. I know human culture does not usually accept multiple partners. But I do not care what is usual. I care about you three. If you choose to stay after the year ends, I will spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret it." Nari stood and embraced him. "Then we will fight together." The next morning, Minho called everyone to the common area. "The council has given us 7 days. We could run. We could hide and never go back to Talvek space." "No," Yuna said immediately. "Running would prove them right. It would say we are ashamed of what we have." "Yuna is correct," Nari said. "We must face the council and defend our choice to stay together." "Then we prepare," Minho said. "Nari, you know Talvek law and politics. Help me understand what we are facing. Hana, document everything we have done together. Every mission, every person we helped. Yuna, teach me proper Talvek formal manners. I need to show respect without appearing weak." They spent the next week preparing. Nari coached Minho on how to address the council, which phrases to use, which topics to avoid. She explained the political factions, who might support them and who would oppose them. Hana compiled a complete record of their time together. The pirate attack they survived, the Haven colony rescue, the cultural exchanges they had fostered. She created a presentation that showed their marriage was not a corruption, but a partnership. Yuna drilled Minho on Talvek customs until he could bow correctly, speak formally, and show proper respect to elders. She was a harsh teacher, but Minho was grateful for it. During those intense days, the four of them grew even closer. They worked late into the nights, fueled by determination and fear, and in the quiet moments, they talked about their feelings. Yuna finally admitted what everyone already knew. One evening, during a break from training, she pulled Minho aside. "I need to tell you something," she said, unusually nervous. "I was wrong about you. When we first met, I thought you were weak. I hated being forced to marry you. But you proved me wrong every day." She took a breath. "You are the strongest person I know. Not because of your muscles, but because of your heart. You face danger to protect others. You treat us as equals. You make me want to be better." "Yuna," Minho said. "I love you," she said bluntly. "I am a warrior. I do not say such things lightly, but it is true. I love you, and I will fight anyone who tries to separate us." Minho pulled her into an embrace. "I love you too. Your strength inspires me every day." Yuna held him tightly, her 4 arms wrapping around him protectively. "We will win at the council. We must." The night before they reached the Talvek homeworld, the 4 of them sat together in the cargo hold. The atmosphere was heavy with anticipation and worry. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Minho said, "I want you to know that these past months have been the best of my life. You 3 have given me something I never had before. A real family." "We feel the same," Hana said, taking his hand. Nari took his other hand. "No matter what the council decides, we made this choice together. That means something." Yuna placed one hand on his shoulder. "Tomorrow, we show them what we are. Not a corruption of tradition, but an evolution of it." They sat together in silence, drawing strength from each other. The trial ahead would determine their future. But in that moment, they were together. And that was enough. The next morning, the Morning Star entered Talvek space. Guard ships escorted them to the homeworld, a massive planet with gleaming cities and ancient monuments. They landed at the capital, where the High Council awaited. The council chamber was enormous, with seats for hundreds of representatives. At the center stood a raised platform where Minho and his wives would make their case. Conservative council members glared at them with open hostility. Progressive members watched with interest. Most looked uncertain, waiting to hear the arguments before deciding. At the head of the chamber sat Elder Corvan, the council leader. She was ancient, Her blue skin faded to almost gray with age. Her golden eyes studied them with an intensity that made Minho nervous. "The petition to annul this marriage has been filed," Elder Corvan announced. "The Purity Front claims that the human corrupted the daughters of House Grath Vel, that the marriage is a mockery of our traditions. What say you?" This was it. Everything depended on what happened next. Minho stepped forward, ready to fight for the family he had found among the stars. The council chamber fell silent as Minho stood before hundreds of Talvek representatives. His 3 wives stood beside him, their heads held high despite the hostile stares. "Elder Corvan, honored council members," Minho began, speaking in carefully practiced Talvek. "I stand before you not as an outsider seeking to corrupt your traditions, but as someone who has lived by them. I did not seek this marriage. It was given to me by your own ancient laws, laws that your people have honored for thousands of years." A conservative council member stood. "You used our laws to claim our daughters as prizes. This is exploitation, not honor." "I claimed nothing," Minho said firmly, switching to common language so his words would be clear. "I accepted a challenge to preserve peace between our peoples. I won fairly in the circle of honor. Everything that followed happened according to Talvek law, guided by your own elders. If the law is wrong, that is not my fault." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Minho had touched on a sensitive point. The Talvek took their ancient laws seriously. Questioning them was uncomfortable, but necessary. Elder Corvan raised a hand for silence. "The human speaks truth. The law of the champion's claim is ancient and binding. However, the question before us is whether this marriage has harmed the daughters of House Grathvel. Have you been corrupted by human influence?" Nari stepped forward. She moved with the grace and confidence of a trained diplomat, commanding attention without demanding it. "Honored Elder, council members, I speak as the eldest daughter of House Grathvel," she said in formal Talvek. "I have studied our laws and traditions my entire life. I understand honor, duty, and the weight of family name. And I tell you now, freely and clearly, I choose to remain with my husband." Gasps echoed through the chamber. "Not because I must," Nari continued, her voice strong. "Not because law compels me, but because Han Minho has shown me what true honor means. Talvek tradition teaches us to value strength. But we have forgotten that strength takes many forms." She gestured to Minho. "This man faced our champion with courage, knowing he could die. He protected us from pirates and extremists who wanted us dead. He risked his life to save human colonists who could offer him nothing in return. He has treated us not as property or prizes, but as equals worthy of respect and love." Nari turned to address the entire council. "I ask you, is this corruption? Or is this the highest expression of what our traditions are supposed to teach? Honor through action, strength through sacrifice, family through choice." Before anyone could respond, Yuna stepped forward. Unlike Nari's diplomatic approach, Yuna radiated barely controlled fury. "I am a warrior," she said, her voice cutting through the chamber like a blade. "I have fought in 20 battles. I have defeated enemies twice my size. I have bled for our people and our honor. And I tell you now, any council member who questions my choice can face me in the circle." Silence. No one moved. "Minho defeated Grathavel fairly," Yuna continued. "He fights like a warrior even though he is small. He protects his family with everything he has. He honors our traditions while teaching us new ways to be strong. If you think I would stay with a man who did not earn my respect, then you understand nothing about warriors." She crossed all 4 arms. "I choose to stay with him. Challenge me if you dare, but you will not change my mind." Several conservative council members looked angry, but none accepted her challenge. Yuna was known as one of the finest fighters of her generation. No one wanted to face her in combat. Hana was last. She approached the platform with less confidence than her sisters, but with equal determination. "I am not a warrior or a diplomat," she said simply. "I am an engineer. I work with facts and logic. So let me share some facts with the council." She activated her data pad, projecting images above the chamber. "Since our marriage began, we have saved Haven Colony from slavers, protecting 3,000 human lives. We have fostered cultural exchanges between 5 different species. We have maintained perfect adherence to Talvek customs while exploring human traditions. We have built something unique, a family that bridges 2 cultures." The images showed them working together, helping injured colonists, fighting pirates, sharing meals and laughter. "The Purity Front claims our marriage is an abomination," Hana continued. "But look at what we have built. We have shown that Talvek and humans can work together, respect each other, and love each other. Is that not valuable? Is that not worth preserving?" She looked directly at Elder Korvan. "I choose to stay with Minho because he makes me happy. Because together, we are stronger than apart. Because love is worth more than tradition that no longer serves us." The chamber erupted in arguments. Conservative members shouted that the law must be upheld unchanged. Progressive members argued for modernization. Moderate voices called for compromise. Elder Korvan let them argue for several minutes, then raised her hand again. The chamber fell silent immediately. "I have heard enough," she said, her ancient voice carrying weight. "The daughters of House Grathvel have spoken clearly. They choose to remain with the human, not because they are corrupted, but because they have found value in this union." She stood slowly, her age making the movement difficult. "I have lived through many changes in our society. I have seen our people evolve while maintaining our core values. And I must ask, what is the purpose of our laws?" No one answered. It was a rhetorical question. "Our laws exist to preserve honor, strength, and family," Elder Korvan continued. "The champion's claim was created to ensure that conquered warriors' families would be cared for, not abandoned. It was meant to be merciful, not cruel. But we have used it as a tool to trade daughters like property." Shocked whispers filled the chamber. An elder criticizing their own traditions was almost unheard of. "I propose a new interpretation of the law," Elder Korvan said. "The champion's claim will remain, honoring our ancestors. But after the trial period, both parties must consent to continue the marriage. No one will be forced to stay or forced to leave. The choice will be mutual and free." A progressive council member stood. "I support this proposal. It honors tradition while respecting individual freedom." Another voice joined in support, then another. The momentum shifted. The conservative faction fought back. Arguments flew. Legal precedents were cited. Ancient texts were quoted. The debate raged for hours. Minho and his wives stood together, waiting. Nari held his hand. Yuna stood protectively close. Hana gripped his other hand tightly. Finally, Elder Korvan called for a vote. The chamber grew silent as each council member cast their decision. The voting took nearly an hour. When it was done, the results appeared on a massive display. The proposal passed, not by a huge margin, but by enough. Elder Korvan spoke again. "By the authority of this council, the marriage between Han Minho and the daughters of House Grathvel is declared valid and binding. Furthermore, the champion's claim law is hereby amended. All future marriages under this law will require mutual consent after the trial period. The old practice of automatic ownership is abolished." She looked at Minho and his wives. "You have your year to complete. After that, each of you will choose freely whether to continue this union. The council will respect whatever decision you make." Relief flooded through Minho. They had won. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough. But Elder Korvan was not finished. "There is one more matter. The human government has observed these proceedings. They have made a request. A hologram appeared, showing a human diplomat. The Earth Coalition formally requests that Han Minho and his family serve as cultural ambassadors between humanity and the Talvek people. They have proven they can bridge our two species. We would like to make that official. Minho looked at his wives in surprise. Nari smiled. Yuna looked proud. Hana bounced excitedly. "Do you accept this position?" Elder Korvan asked. Minho stepped forward. "We accept, together." The council session ended. As they left the chamber, Talvek citizens gathered outside. Some cheered, some glared. Most watched with curiosity. A young Talvek woman approached Nari shyly. "Thank you," she whispered. "My parents want to choose my husband, but you showed that we can choose for ourselves. You gave me hope." Nari embraced the young woman. "Then our fight was worth it." Over the next days, they were approached by dozens of people. Young Talvek who wanted freedom to choose their own paths. Humans who were curious about Talvek culture. Representatives from other species who saw their marriage as a symbol of unity. They had become more than just four people trying to survive a forced situation. They had become a bridge between worlds. On their last night on the Talvek homeworld, they returned to the Morning Star. The ship felt like home now, more than any planet ever had. 9 months left, Hana said, checking the calendar. "Then we can choose." "I already know my choice," Yuna said. "I am staying." "As am I," Nari added. "Me too," Hana said, smiling at Minho. Minho looked at the three women who had changed his life completely. "You know you do not have to decide now. Take the full year. Be sure." "We are sure," Nari said. She moved to him and kissed him softly. "You gave us freedom to choose. We choose you." Yuna joined them, wrapping her arms around both of them. "You are stuck with us now, human." Hana laughed and joined the embrace. "Our family against the universe." They stood together, holding each other, as the ship prepared for departure. Somewhere out in the galaxy, new adventures waited. People to help, cultures to bridge, challenges to face, but they would face everything together. The Morning Star lifted off from the Talvek homeworld, climbing into the stars. In the cockpit, Minho sat surrounded by his three wives, each at their preferred station. Nari plotted their course to their first official mission as ambassadors. Yuna monitored defense systems. Hana hummed while optimizing the engines. "Where to first?" Yuna asked. Minho smiled. "There is a disputed border region between human and Talvek space. Pirates operate there freely because neither side wants to provoke the other. I think it is time we change that." "Always looking for trouble," Nari said, but she was smiling too. "Someone has to," Minho said. As they jumped to hyperspace, Minho reflected on how far they had come. He had started as a simple cargo pilot looking for easy money. He had been forced into marriage with 3 alien women he did not know. Now he was an ambassador, a husband, and part of a family that defied all conventions. The old Talvek law had been meant to claim property, but it had created something much more valuable. A family built not on duty or tradition, but on respect, trust, and love. In the end, that was the most human thing of all, and perhaps the most Talvek thing too. The stars stretched out before them, infinite and welcoming. Together they would explore them all, not because they had to, because they chose to.